Good morning, Year 5 and 6. You've done it. You survived day one of home learning, back into a bit of a routine, hopefully, and ready for another day. So, yesterday, we looked at the viewer. We didn't see any of the text, we didn't see any of the inside of the book. We looked at the front cover, and we looked at some of the key language that was used. So, actually looking into what is a viewer, what are the different options. Some of the predictions have been fantastic. I've really enjoyed seeing those come through. So, a lot of you are along the right lines. A lot of you have gone with predictions around someone using some object, some device to look back in time. And that's what potentially we're looking at within this book. So remember those key objectives there? Okay, so describing settings, characters, atmosphere, making links between paragraphs, and then using a wide range of punctuation. And then you are going to be retelling the story as a different character. Now, before we get into the book fully tomorrow, so Mr. Shaw is going to take you into a lot more detail with the book tomorrow. I want to look at symbolism today. So, how have the author and the illustrator worked together to get some of their ideas across without the need for text? So I am going to read you part of the text today, a very short part, one page of the book. But first I want to look at symbolism and how it's used. So the very first page of the book is this image here. Now I'll zoom in on that one for you in a second. But we've got a baby, a small boy, and we're looking through the window. There's some binoculars on the side, and then there's this quilt made up of all sorts of random and interesting items. Now, what do you think those items might represent to that baby? What might it tell us about that baby? So, we've got all sorts on here. Shells, stamps, whistles, a dart, a spring. So think about babies, think about young children who are finding new things all the time, becoming interested in lots of different things. What do you think that these things might represent for the baby? So some more things over there, and then finally insects and keys and pegs and things that we as older children and adults might know what they are. We might understand them. They might be fairly ordinary and fairly boring, some of those things. But what do you think that represents to the baby? So what I'd like you to do before I read you the first couple of paragraphs from the book is the first part of your task today is to look at what are the author and illustrator trying to represent with this image. So I would like you to write me a short paragraph describing what you think is being represented. What do all of those things, what have they all got in common? What links them together? What might they mean to the baby? What does the baby think of all of those things? So I'd like you to pause the video and present that to me. Now it's up to you. Maybe you'd prefer to present it in a PowerPoint or typing it where you could copy and paste the image, take a screenshot of the image and write around the image. Maybe that's easier for you. Maybe you'd find that more interesting, more enjoyable to do that, and that's absolutely fine. However, we're asking you, whatever task we're asking you to do it however you want. Be creative, okay? If you'd like to do it on IT or on paper, that's absolutely fine. So however you want to represent it to us, but what are they trying to do? Okay, what could that image mean? So again, a bit of prediction building on yesterday. So pause the video, Have a go at that, and then I'll read you the first part of the text and you'll complete the next activity. Okay, so hopefully you've got some great ideas around that. Let's see if this helps to build your idea of what the story is about. So, Tristan was curious from birth. This is not to say that he was different from other babies. In fact, he was rather ordinary. But from the moment he opened his eyes, he seemed to be looking, taking the world in, as it were. Nor did this remarkable curiosity, this constant need to search, to look out, lessen as he grew older. So let's have a think. What have we learnt about this story so far? So we have learnt, we've got a character here, haven't we? Okay. The baby's name, Tristan, okay, was curious from birth. We've got a very curious character, okay? Always seemed to be looking, okay? And we've also found out actually that that didn't lessen as he grew older. So we've learned something about our character already. We know he's curious. We know he's going to be looking for things. He's going to be searching for things. Now, think back to your predictions yesterday. Think back to the text from yesterday. We know there's going to be some sort of viewer. Does that help you now to think about what might be coming up in this story? Really thinking back to our predictions, adapting them, changing them with new information that we get. Okay, let's read on. From the time he was 3 years old, Tristan would wander from his parents' house, to be found, hours later, miles away and always alone, staring up at the cloudless sky, or crouched by the seashore, peering at some long-dead life form that had been washed up there, or once in a city park, gathering the autumn leaves that lay scattered about him. Another time, on an occasion when he vanished overnight, he was found in a museum, gazing into a display case of long outdated cameras, oblivious of all else, even the heartache that he caused his parents. So we've got someone who is so curious. They are constantly on the lookout for new information, to look at new things, to find out about the world around them. So does that help you think back to the quilt? Okay, all of these things around him, the author and the illustrator are symbolizing things that are important or that the baby's curious about. So special things to him. Any of you who've got younger siblings, who've got relatives that are babies, will know they're often interested in everything, and the smallest things can be the things that are most special to them. So the author and illustrator have demonstrated here items that are special to that baby, and items that they're curious about, that he wants to know more about, he wants to understand, he's interested by them. So, for the second part of today's lesson, I want you to think about you. What's special to you? What things are you curious about? What things do you think, I, I don't understand that, I wish I knew about that, that thing's really interesting, it really interests me, what those things are. So today is a bit of a snapshot into you, so the things that are special to you, and I want you to create your own quilt, and you can do that however you want. Again, you can do it through the use of ICT, through screenshotting pictures and putting them together as a quilt. You can draw them. If you've got them in your house, these items, you could take a picture of those and upload them to Dojo and write in the comment why they're special to you or why they interest you. So I would like you to create your own quilt to represent things that are special to you and you're curious about. So I want at least 2 things that are special to you, and at least 2 things that you are curious about. And I'd like a short sentence about each to tell me why they're special or why you're curious. What is it that interests you about that? And keep your eyes out on Class Dojo, as at some point on Tuesday I will add my own quilt with a couple of things that interest me, a couple of things that are special to me. Um, and I really look forward to seeing some of the things that are special to you guys. So totally up to you how you present it. Um, hopefully something that is a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting for you to share some things with your teachers about yourself. And tomorrow, Mr. Shaw will be taking you further into the book. However, I'd like to end today with the final paragraph. But as he grew older and entered his teenage years, it was the city dump that attracted Tristan most. That was where he felt closest to his private view of heaven. So, the city dump. Okay, let's think about your predictions. Lots of you saying that he found this object and it was able to let him see back in time or see into the future or wherever it might be. So, have we just found a setting for our story, our main character, and a bit of a rationale, a bit of a reason for why he might have been looking for this object, this viewing box? We know that he's curious. Okay, I really look forward to seeing both parts of your work today. So your ideas around the symbolism, what you thought they were going to represent, and then after we'd found out what the author and illustrator were trying to represent, actually, what would your quilt look like? Okay, so have a go, get them back to us in whichever way you want. Pictures, a video explaining to us. Maybe you could record yourself videoing your special things if you've got them in the house. Video pictures, video them on your computer screen, and get them back into us. So I look forward to seeing them on Class Dojo.